Today I wanted to compare a couple of Bibles that I think are really nice. These are English Standard Version Bibles, and they are large print Thinlines. And I think Crossway puts out just some really wonderful Thinlines. The one on the left here is a genuine leather cover, and the one on the right is a Trutone synthetic cover. You can get this one, the genuine leather, for about $40, and then the Trutone for only about $20. And actually, right now in CBD, some of these cost less than $15. So I just thought it would be neat to compare these two, but also just make some general comments about the Crossway ESV Thinline Bibles. I do want to mention that these are both large print, so that does make a difference in terms of the size of the print. These are advertised as being a 10-point type. You can see that there, and so it's a pretty good size font, and yet they managed to get it really in the same size as their regular Thinlines. I believe it's actually the same height and width, just a little bit thicker than their regular Thinlines. So I think that is really cool. So some of the pros of both of these are just their construction. They really are well made. They both look great, and this Trutone, being $20 or so, just has a wonderful color scheme to it. This charcoal color with the silver gilding on the side, I think really looks great. Comes with this black angle cut ribbon. The perimeter stitching there really stands out nicely with the color scheme, and then that etching in the front, I think, looks really elegant and nice, and really fitting with the ESV brand. So I just think that the whole ESV look here is fantastic. This is more of a simple, straightforward, elegant look with the gold on the side there, and then you have the gold stamping on the spine. And this is a genuine leather with, it's kind of a stiff leather, but very pronounced grain. So it is going to be stronger, probably last longer than the Trutone, but it will cost about $40 if you want to get something nicer. The other difference between these two, I think you can see, is that the text block on the genuine leather is more rounded, and then the one on the Trutone is a little bit straighter. You can see that with the spines there, but not a huge difference. In terms of their paper, I would say it's probably really similar paper. It's very thin paper on both of these. Another nice thing about these Bibles is that they are line matched, and so the lines on one side of the page are matched up with the lines on the other side, and that's really important because the pages are so thin. They're also, the font is spaced really nicely. It's a large print, and so I think with both of these, you're really getting a nice Bible to be able to carry around easily, and yet it's still pretty easy to read. So when you combine all of those factors and you look at the price, I think you're getting a lot for your money. The one thing I will say that's a downside to these Bibles is the ghosting. Now, some Bibles that are less expensive will have some ghosting. There's no doubt about it. But these ones, I would say, are really kind of on the more noticeable side, especially in the poetry sections where you have these stanzas and a lot of white space. You will see a lot of ghosting, and so it's a good thing that it's line matched, but that can be really distracting. The quick fix to that, though, honestly, is if you just lift up that page a little bit, then that ghosting isn't quite so distracting. But if you're really sensitive to ghosting, that could be an issue for you with these Bibles. I have a Zondervan NASB Thinline, and I would say if you look at the ghosting in this, the trade-off is this is a bigger Bible, but I really think that the paper, for whatever reason, has less ghosting in the Zondervan, and generally speaking, I would say in the Nelson Thinlines, there's less ghosting than what you're getting in the Crossway editions. And so I don't know if the camera's really going to show the difference, but the ghosting in this is less noticeable than on the Crossway editions. So that's really the only downside. But if you want a nice, compact, good size font, I would say that these ESV large print Thinlines are really nice Bibles to have, especially if you like the ESV translation. So that's just a little look at these Bibles brought to you from a First Perspective.